If I could pick one thing that has not only allowed me to improve in photography, but also understand myself better as a photographer, it would be journaling. Many people think that journaling is just for life in general, but I found it very helpful for me to journal about photography specifically. And it's something I'd recommend for anyone doing anything creative. Journaling can be a great way for us to understand what we're trying to do, what we're trying to express, and where we're trying to go. And in many ways, a journal is our sanctuary, where we can let loose and free our mind of the troubles of the world. So today I'll share with you guys a few helpful ways I like to journal and how you can apply it to your life. Write what you feel. The most common use of a journal is to write down our feelings. Feelings are often what guide and orient our lives, so it's important for us to write them down so we can better understand them and be honest with ourselves. In photography, it's important to understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. For example, photography might just be a casual thing for you. You might say, oh, I just take pictures for fun. On the other hand, photography might be more of a serious thing. You have something you want to accomplish, goals you want to achieve, and things you want to do with photography. So it's important for me to ask myself questions in regards to that so I can better understand what I'm trying to do with my work here. Photography for me is an expression of myself as a person. I kind of see it as I'm going through life doing my own thing, and whatever stage of life I'm in, that is shown and seen reflected in my photos. For example, the photozine I'm working on called The Sinking Sun, name reveal, is a photozine that's kind of about the fleeting moments of life. Currently, this period or stage of life I'm in is this kind of zone where the time we have in the present moment feels long and it feels kind of endless, but it goes by in an instant. And it's something I try to remind myself all the time because tomorrow is not guaranteed. And these are the golden years. And so those are the thoughts and feelings that are going on through my head that are associated with the type of person and the life that I'm living right now. And I think you can see those accurately reflected in these images as well. That's what photography is for me. Less so me being a documentary photographer trying to capture this and this and this, tell a story in that way. It's more of a reflection of myself as a person and the life I'm living right now. So I think these questions are meaningful to ask yourself if you are a photographer. How do I feel about this? What am I trying to express? What am I actually trying to do with the art and the craft here? Is this a project I'm excited to work on, motivated to work on, or is this just something I'm doing because I have nothing else better to do? Journaling is what allows us to answer and sort through these questions. So it's important to write what you feel if you're doing anything creative because it'll allow you to connect with your work that much better. Write your experiences. Experiences are important to write down because we forget things very quickly. When going on something like photo shoots or even just working on something new, it's important to write down and document your own creative process so you can better understand yourself. What you were thinking when you made that, how you felt when you made that, what things you tried to apply and what you didn't. If we can better understand our own creative process, we can more easily get to that state where we are creating our best work. This allows us to, in a sense, recreate our own creative processes. And sometimes we'll even discover something we did that made the photo better without us even realizing it. One thing I've learned about my own creative process is that I like to go with the flow. I don't like to plan my photos too much, rather I like to sort of be in the moment and just take the photos when it happens. So I think there's a more natural element to this. I think it's more genuine in my own photography, and I don't like to force things or stage things or anything like that. For example, I no longer really go to downtown areas to shoot my street photography. I used to when I was thinking more about street photography, more immersed in it, trying to get better in that aspect, but now I find myself taking pictures more so when I'm on walks during golden hours, sunsets, etc., just because that's the type of life I'm living currently. And I actually think my photos are better this way because I'm not trying to force anything. Everything's very natural and I'm not trying to go out and seek this certain type of photo or style or photo or trying to force and make things work a certain way that I want it to work. And so this is all sounding kind of like a little too, I don't know, but I really like to just be in the moment with photography and just not think too hard about it. And I think that makes me more of a better photographer as well, because then I can better use the tools that I have at hand to kind of improvise. And it also allows me to think more so than plan. It allows me to feel and sense the current environment rather than trying to make like a certain daytime photo into a golden hour photo. So you can apply this to your own work by asking yourself, how do I create things? What are the things I do when I'm creating my best work, and how do I recreate that? For me, understanding my own natural creative process has allowed me to do more of that and less of what I think others have kind of been saying about their own creative processes that may work for them but don't necessarily work for me. Right where you are. If If art is your career, it can be a scary and long road. This is why it's important to write where you are in your photography journey. And it's many times we'll put ourselves in a bad place by comparing ourselves to other artists that are further down along the road. This can make us think that we should be better or more accomplished than we actually are. And that kind of sucks because then it's really just us beating ourselves up. But I think that by writing stuff down, we can actually give ourselves peace by telling ourselves that we are actually exactly where we should be. For example, when building this photo zine or even just releasing prints, I often get caught up in thoughts where I tell myself, why am I doing this? What's the point? Who's going to see this? Who's going to care? Etc., etc., etc. But I also try to remind myself as much as possible that I know this is something I would make regardless. And I want to make a bunch of photo books in the future. And so this is kind of just the first step towards that longer end goal of mine. And if that's the case, then this one photo zine really doesn't matter that much. It's just an important first step. I'm making what I make right now to the best of my ability as I currently can, and that's the point. Because later on down the road, maybe 5 or 10 years later, I'm going to be making something different then, and it's going to be much more refined and polished naturally because I'm going to get better, I'm going to improve, etc. And so I'm going to look back at the stuff that I make now, and I might cringe, but I also might really enjoy it because I understand the feelings and emotions of what I'm doing right now as opposed to what I'm going to be doing then. And because those are different, the things that I'm going to be making then aren't going to be the same as the things that I'm making now because I just wouldn't make the stuff that I'm making now then. That's why it's important for us to create what we're creating now because the feelings that we have currently associated with our current state of life are very unique towards our own timeline. And if we wait too long, those feelings are going to change. We're going to grow as people. We're going to change and become different people. And therefore, the things that we're going to want to make are going to be different. You're not going to want to make the same projects you're thinking of making right now later. And so it's important to preserve and keep that essence of who we are as an artist now in the work that we create, regardless of if it's good or bad, regardless of if it's big or small or whatever. And that's just something I try to keep in mind. And I think I really only understood that by doing a lot and also by writing these things down often, conversing with myself back and forth of whether or not it's worth it or not, why would anyone even care, and all that stuff. And that's why I think journaling is so important. You can apply this to your own life as well. If you have a personal project that you want to pursue, you want to create, you want to do, I think it's important for you to pursue that and for you to do that in general anyways, because you're not going to want to make those projects later. You're just going to be a different person, and the projects you're going to want to make later are going to be different. And so it doesn't matter if it makes money or not. It doesn't matter if it's like a bunch of people see it, praise it, or whatever or not. You want to make this project for a certain reason. That's why it's worth it. That's why you should do it. And that's my recommendation. And so overall, if I could sum it up, what I think the most important thing about journaling is that it allows us to be our own counselor. As fun as art can be, there are a lot of challenging aspects to it. And journaling for me, as you can probably tell, has allowed me to overcome a lot of these obstacles. And whatever you're trying to do, I hope this video could help you in some sort of way. Also, currently, I'm giving out free 4x6 prints, so if you're interested, the link is down below. And as always, guys, thank you for watching. Peace.